No glasses jump scare. It's 12:30. I have an alarm set for 6.5 hours from now to wake up for my neurology appointment. And I'm not tired. I'm not excited for my appointment. I'm sleeping at my aunt's house because she's taking me tomorrow morning. Or I guess in the morning. And I have two appointments. One where I have to redo the testing that I already did at the audiologist, which is awesome. So I've been off of my meds for 2 days. And then after all that, I have to talk to the neurologist who specializes in like vestibular stuff. It's another thing to check off my list so the next time I go to another new doctor, I can be like, yeah, I already went to a cardiologist and an ENT and a neurologist and I had a sleep study. Like I can tell them all the stuff that I've already done and they can be like, okay, now what? After my appointment, I'll let you know how it goes, and I'm also hoping to film a little something. I'm hoping, like, this year in general to not get back to, but start doing more stuff that's just, like, about me. Maybe updates on, like, projects that I'm doing or something, instead of all just being about health content, because I actually really enjoy making videos and posting them, and I've realized that more recently. But I actually really enjoy like talking to the unknown ether internet space about my life and what I'm doing. So I'm hoping tomorrow I can film a little something to put in this video, and hopefully all in all it won't be more than like 20 minutes. We'll see. I'm gonna try and go to bed now, and I will finish this later, probably way more tired than I am right now. So I got back from my appointment a while ago, like a few hours ago. I don't feel great, but I'm trying to look on the bright side because unlike most appointments I've had, there's actually a semblance of somehow to go forward, so that's good. The doctor was like fine. She was very like direct. She wasn't rude. I appreciate more bedside manner when it comes to my doctors, but I can't, beggars can't be choosers, I guess, which I hate that saying, but I had to do more like physical testing of like my eyes and stuff, but it wasn't the same as the ones I did at the audiologist, which is good because it was $100. And if I had paid $100 to do the same test again, I would have been mad. So she gave me some homework, but on top of this homework that I will go over momentarily, she also ordered an MRI because I mentioned that I can hear my heart beating in my ears sometimes and the blood rushing in my head when I'm having episodes sometimes of like dizziness or lightheadedness or heart palpitations. So she wants to get an MRI done to make sure I don't have like an aneurysm, which she's pretty sure I don't, of course. She ordered some blood work. I don't even remember what it was for. I think one of them was for celiac, because apparently celiac can present with these kind of neurological symptoms. But I'm like 99.7% sure I don't have celiac because I would have known by now, I'm sure. But I don't know, maybe it can develop later in life. And then there was the homework. I'm going to go in order of least to most upsetting, in my personal opinion. The first thing that she recommended me was supplements because magnesium is prescribed for migraines sometimes. I don't know why, but it is. And the second thing is this list of little videos to watch. One example I like to use is when I'm in the car and we're stopped at a train. If we're close enough to the train and I'm watching the train cars go by, it makes me dizzy. So it's like the movement of your eyes really fast like that, watching stuff go by you. So these videos here are just like YouTube videos, and they mimic that like kind of stimulation. I only have to do it a couple times a day. I do it for like 30 seconds to a minute, as long as I can tolerate, like without feeling like I'm gonna die. The third thing, which I thought was really funny because it's funny, but also like kind of weird, like hokey, weird, is physical activity, but like very specific list of things. And here's the list: tango, Zumba, ballroom dancing, Tai Chi, Wii Sports, and table tennis. Okay. So I'm not gonna dance. I'm not doing Zumba. Wii Sports Resort it is, and we have a ping pong table. So 20 minutes a day. She says not even all in a row, just 20 minutes. Do any of those specific things. I don't know why it has to be those specific things. I don't know if it's like just a theory of her or if it's like a real thing, but she's a doctor, so I have to trust her, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm the only one who thinks it's like kind of weird that she didn't like give other like specifications of like what kind of activity, that she gave me like this very specific list. And it's not even like a workout routine, it's like very specific activities to do. That's just weird to me. And then the last thing is the worst one. The only thing I actually like got like really upset about. Dietary list. This is all stuff that I have to avoid for 2 months. So it's pretty well known that there can be certain dietary contributors to migraines or things that contribute them. Big ones are MSG. There was kind of like a weird hysteria around it in like the 90s. But there are people who are sensitive to MSG and it like does trigger migraines. Caffeine is another one. But apparently there's a bunch of other stuff too, and it's all on here. And I'm gonna give you some highlights. The one that's gonna be the hardest for me is soda. Which, at first I was like, okay, no caffeine. I'll just drink caffeine-free soda. And I drink diet soda because I can't drink full sugar soda because it makes me feel physically ill, like sick to my stomach. I was like, okay, I'll just drink caffeine-free Diet Coke or Diet 7-Up or something, whatever. And then I got further down the list, and aspartame is on this list too, which means I can't drink diet soda either. Which means that if I want soda, I have to drink full sugar, non-caffeinated soda, which limits me to like root beer, which is, I hate root beer, Sprite, which just tastes like corn syrup. So basically, no soda for me for 2 months, at least, unless I find out that one of these is my trigger, and then I never get to have soda again. I will lose my mind. Coffee, I can go without. I don't even have money for coffee. But like, it's a thing. My mom buys us sodas every Friday at the local Circle K. And I just don't get soda anymore. For 2 months. And 2 months is a really long time. Some other standouts. Chocolate. I'm guessing because it has thiamine in it, which is a close relative to caffeine, and it like constricts blood vessels, or it's like really whatever. Nuts, but specifically peanuts, which means peanut butter is on the list of things that I have to cut out for 2 months. Peanut butter. Literally one of the cheapest, most accessible, easiest things to put in something. I'm making overnight oats, I put some peanut butter in it, like protein, you know, fills you up a little better. Peanut butter sandwiches, out of question. No peanut butter. So that's great. Alcohol's on here. I don't drink because I'm not old enough and I wouldn't anyway. Whatever. Any kind of aged milk product, including cheese. And that includes things like mozzarella cheese, which is like barely aged, okay? Like, it's the mildest, least aged cheese of all time. I can have freaking American cheese. I can have cottage cheese, cream cheese, ricotta cheese, you know. I just said cheese so many times. But I can't have, like, actual good cheese. Excuse me? You're telling me I can't have chocolate or cheese? Okay. Eggs are limited to 2 to 3 times a week, which is another one of those things. They're not cheap, but they're very convenient, and they're a good source of a lot of things. And I eat eggs a lot. I can't have homemade bread. Because something about the freshness of the yeast messes with something. But I can eat as many potatoes as I want. Oh, okay. I can't eat processed meat, so hot dogs, cheap, easy, can't have them. Pepperoni, cheap, easy, can't have it. Cool, awesome, love it. It's great. sausage, can't eat it. Can't have it. MSG. Now, if you don't know anything about MSG, you might not know that MSG is in so much stuff, okay? So much stuff. Chiefly ramen. It is like one of the main flavor additives in ramen. And ramen is one of the most convenient things to keep around to eat when I feel like I can't move my body. And I fucking eat ramen. I can't eat ramen for 2 months. I'm gonna lose my mind. And glutamates like MSG are included in things that say like natural flavoring. Aspartame is on here, so artificial sweetener. Even though there's not a lot of evidence to back that up, but it's on the list and she wants me to cut it out, so I'm gonna do it. I can't eat beans. Which, once again, another very cheap, easy, like, filling thing to have around. Onions. Now tell me how I'm supposed to not eat onions. How am I supposed to get away with not eating onions ever? How? Okay. It says mixed dishes, but it seems like things that are like maybe frozen pre-made because they'll have a lot of extra stuff in them, like frozen meals, TV dinners, lasagna, mac and cheese. I'm sorry. Mac and cheese and pizza. Not that I'd eat either of those anyway, because they have cheese in them. And I can commiserate with my best friend who also has a very restrictive diet, lots of allergies. But there's even stuff on here that they eat that I can't eat. And there's stuff that I can still eat that they can't eat. You know, like gluten. They don't eat gluten. According to this paper that she gave me, a theory of why migraines are triggered in some people, and a theory of why it's genetic, is that there can be sensitivities to certain chemicals in your brain that are produced in reaction to things or are consumed. And some of the chemicals in these foods, like in aspartame or MSG or alcohol or caffeine itself, as a chemical, is very compositionally similar to the chemicals that your brain is sensitive to. But there's no way to specifically know which ones until you do this whole list and then incrementally add things back into your diet and then see how it affects you. That's the only way to find out. There's no like allergy testing because it's not a physical like histamine reaction. It's just your brain being dumb. So I have to do 2 months of none of the stuff on this list, and then I can selectively add categories back. So the first thing I'll probably add back is aspartame, because I can do diet soda after that. But that's not for 2 months, and then like once a week you add one of these things and you track and see how you're feeling. And of course in my head I'm like, this isn't gonna do anything. I've been conditioned to believe that none of the things that people tell me is gonna be helpful. Granted, I haven't had this much of like an active like solution ever, but like in my bones, I just feel like it's not. I'm gonna lose my mind, guys. Okay, and I know it looks like I'm being funny and silly here. It's because I want to cry and scream about it. And this isn't even the worst it could be. I could have like cancer or something, okay? And I don't, and I still hate it here. She hasn't even technically diagnosed me with anything. Like, if I do this whole thing and there are no changes, that means that I don't have migraines and I don't know what's going on. But that's jumping ahead a lot. So I have to reel it back, do what she told me to do my follow-up. So I'm going to start all of this on Monday because it is Wednesday. I don't feel like doing it in the middle of the week when I'm sad about it. But that also means that I have to get myself on a better like schedule of everything, including sleep. And that's the other thing. This addresses specifically the reason I went to a neurologist is for dizziness. The migraine stuff will address dizziness. But it doesn't address joint pain. It doesn't address lightheadedness. doesn't address fatigue, like chronic fatigue, which was the first thing that I noticed literally 2.5 years ago. The first symptom that I had of anything wrong was chronic fatigue, and nobody has been able to find a good reason for that. So this stuff, if it is the solution, is solution to one thing. And then I have to start all over. I'm going to find a new primary care physician and probably see another cardiologist, because I just can't let go of the feeling that there's something wrong with, like, my blood pressure. Because I keep seeing stuff about people with, like, POTS. And I don't have POTS. I can't. Like, I don't have tachycardia. I just can't let go of this feeling into my body that there's something else that's being overlooked. And when I did go to the cardiologist, he did not, I mentioned this, he did not do anything related to my blood pressure. I did a heart monitor, but heart monitors don't monitor your blood pressure. So, like, they didn't do, like, the tilt table test or anything, or even, like, orthostatic blood pressure. He didn't have me monitor it at home at all. Like, there was nothing. And I just cannot let go of the feeling that there's something else wrong. And if there's anything I know about me, it's that I need to trust what I'm feeling about it, because that's the only way I get anywhere. Because if I didn't keep trusting myself, I would have stopped at, it's just anxiety, and never gotten as far as I have now. There's still steps, but I'm having a really hard time not just, like, figuring out what to do now. And of course, the whole time now, I'm like, this whole time could I have been doing something like going to college or having a job, blah, 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 all that I've talked about before, I think. And I really need to, like, take it one step at a time, which is really hard when shit's going to shit. But to take my mind off of all of this, I got an idea from this girl I started following. Her name's Marcella. I will tag her. Do a tour of my CD collection, because I'm sad and I want to do something a little more fun. And hopefully you'll stick around for the whole thing, even though this is a really long video. And I could split it up, but in my head, I'm like, I don't want to release, like, 2 videos back to back, and that seems dumb. So, I'm on the floor now. I really want a shelf for my CDs, but we aren't allowed to install shelves in our house, because we're renting from a rental company that hates people and joy. So we can't screw stuff into the walls. I have mine organized by alphabetical order, and then by release date, release year. The first one is an Aerosmith one. I don't listen to them on Spotify anymore, because I found out that Steven Tyler, like, adopted a teenager and then married her, and that's really weird. But I got super connected to Aerosmith over pandemic, because I pulled out a bunch of my dad's CDs from his CD case, and he had Aerosmith, and so this one has Make It and Moving Out, which are also in the Aerosmith Guitar Hero game, which I love. I love Guitar Hero so much. So much of my music taste is from Guitar Hero. Next 4 albums are Coldplay. I've loved Coldplay more and more as time goes on. So I have Parachutes. I have Rush of Blood to the Head, so classics. X and Y, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, genuinely. And then Ghost Stories, which I bought before listening to it, a lot of it, and I thrifted it. I don't generally enjoy this album. However, I listened to it all the way through at like 7 at night in the dark while I was, like, dissociating. And it is a drug trip of an album to listen to. There's some, like, weird, like, effects, like synthy effects and stuff. And I don't know if it was just, like, the headspace I was in or what, but it was kind of a crazy experience. I don't listen to any of the music in it anymore. The one song that people would know from it is Sky Full of Stars, and I hate that song. But there's that. Obviously, Parachutes and Rush of Blood to the Head are amazing. I'd say my favorite track on Parachutes is probably High Speed. It's a good song. And then on Rush of Blood to the Head, I really like Warning Sign. And the title track, Rush of Blood to the Head, is really, really good. My brother loves that song too. Rush of Blood to the Head was the album I got my brother hooked on, and that's when he started liking Coldplay. I have one Imagine Dragons album. I promise, look, you're gonna hear my collection, you're gonna think I'm a normie. I promise I'm only like a little bit of a normie, okay? A lot of this is because I have like nostalgic connections to it. Imagine Dragons was the first band that I ever listened to that I was like, I love all of their music, okay? Because when I'm like 8 years old, I'm not thinking, I love Train, you know? His music was everywhere when I was that age. I wasn't ever like, Train is my favorite band. I was always like, oh, this song is good. But Imagine Dragons, specifically Night Visions, I was obsessed with this album. I bought it on Amazon and put it on my MP3 player. A no skips album, 100% for me. Like, I'm listening to all of these songs. And then the bonus track is 8 minutes long, and I have such a soft spot for it. Dan Reynolds' voice, Night Visions era, is so good. He has like the perfect amount of rasp, and there's a woman in it. She has like some like harmonizing that goes on. And then the deluxe version, which I don't have, this is not the deluxe version, but the deluxe version has a song called Celine on it. Celine is a really good song. I like that song a lot. Y'all are gonna laugh at me for this too. This is my favorite band ever of all time, and it is normie. It's very Mormon of me, gonna be honest. But this is also the fault of my father and Guitar Hero combined. The Killers, okay? And technically I have 6 of their albums. The first 2 albums that came out. The first one, Hot Fuss, my favorite album of all time. And I've listened to it since before I was like 10 years old. And then Sam's Town, one of my other favorite albums of all time, is really good. It has some really fun, like, belty pieces in it. Pieces? Who am I? Anyway, but I don't own those because they're really hard to find secondhand because they're really good albums. But I've been listening to them on CDs, burnt CDs that my dad got from his friend in like 2005. And they're in his CD case because I need to find a case to put them in. And I'll probably make like little custom covers for them. I also want to find actual like secondhand copies, but I think it'd be really fun to have the burned CDs. Sawdust. This is the 3rd one. This one's like okay. Leave the Bourbon on the Shelf is really nice. I like that song a lot. This album ended up being in my top streamed on Spotify of 2024. Like, some of the songs in it. And I find that insane because I didn't think I liked it that much. And then I, like, looked through the set list and I was like, no, I love all of these songs. So, apparently I like this album a lot. This one is super 80s coded. And it has a lot of synth and a lot of, like, belting, and this is a pretty good one. I would love to see this live because I love Brandon Flowers' voice in that album. And then this one is an enigma to me because I both love it and also kind of am like wishy-washy on it. First time I listened to it, I was like, this is amazing. The first track, the title track, I guess, Wonderful Wonderful, is really good. And I started to theorize that maybe each of these tracks is about a different one of like a different like cardinal sin, because there's like very Christian underlying themes in this, and then also in their newest album, which I don't have a CD of. I don't even know if they made CDs of them. I actually really like those themes a lot because Brandon Flowers is or was Mormon. Like, he's from Lehigh. Like, that's Mormon, okay? And I appreciate a lot of his, like, very nuanced takes on, like, growing up in a small town, or, like, how he talks about God in his music. Even though it's, like, not super deep, I have more of a connection to it anyway, because it's the Killers. I got this when I was, like, 12, I think, because I would rip the CDs onto someone's computer and then put them on my MP3 player, and someone got this for me, and I'm gonna be honest, This is a banger album, okay? This is a really good album. Then I have an Owl City one. Owl City was one that my aunt listens to a lot. And she had it on her iPod, and we would listen to it in the car on like road trips and stuff. And I liked Beautiful World, Big New World, Brand New World, something like that. It has a tree on the front. So I got this one, and I listened to this one a lot in like 2020, 2021. I don't know, just like the vibes really hit when I was inside all the time. I don't listen to Owl City a lot anymore, but there are some pretty decent songs on here. My chief complaint of Owl City in general is that a lot of their music sounds like kind of the same, which can be said for a lot of artists. Then I have 3 Paramore CDs. Paramore is one of my favorite bands ever. In my top stream for the past 3 years, I love Hayley Williams. She was one of my gay awakenings. I don't even know if I would say that anymore because, like, I'm not a girl. But you can play as her in Guitar Hero World Tour. There's Guitar Hero again, coming back. So I got these 2 for the same birthday that I got One Direction CDs, which is crazy behavior. Coldplay, One Direction, and Paramore in the same birthday. And I wasn't even 14. It was crazy. This is probably my least favorite one, which is kind of crazy because it's like their first one. But it has All We Know, which is like iconic. All we know, you know, very, very iconic. Riot is a banger. A riot, if you will, okay? Riot Supremacy. Riot's their best album of all time. One of my favorite albums ever. And then Brand New Eyes is really sweet. Like, I love the album art. I've seen people get tattoos of this. I'm like, oh, I might do like an embroidery of this because this is just like a really fun album cover. The only exception is one of my dad's favorite songs, and there's this cover of it on YouTube that he really likes, and he's always wanted me to do a cover of it, so I might do that. Where the Lines Overlap is on, like, I don't know what it is, but it is like crack to me. Like, when I hear that song, I'll like not hear it for like a couple months, and then I hear it, and then I'm like, that song exists, and then I listen to it incessantly. Like, I love Where the Lines Overlap. I don't know if it's like, I think part of the reason I like Paramore so much is because I love singing along to it because she's kind of like actually in my range, like my vocal range, and she's a lot of like belty singing, which I'm not great at, but it's really fun. So Paramore, definitely up there. These are crazy too, okay? These are crazy. Selena Gomez and The Scene. This is When the Sun Goes Down. It has Love You Like a Love Song on it, which is crazy. I haven't listened to these in so long, but I could probably sing like the tag of each of these songs off the top of my head. Like, I'm not even kidding. It says Who Says, which was on the Disney Channel. Like, there's a Spanish version of it. And then another Selena Gomez album, Stars Dance, which is like right when it was like the cusp of her going from like Disney girl to like mainstream pop star. So it has some like interesting vibes. Some like kind of low-key like sexual like vibes. But it's enough like innuendo, and she didn't write it herself, that I just didn't know. I have 5 soundtracks. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Obviously iconic, okay? And I watched this movie so much when it came out, okay? So, I haven't actually listened to it, but just having it is like a whole moment for me, okay? Lemonade Mouth was, oh, look it. You can tell how well loved this is, because, Lemonade Mouth was formative for me, and it's got some crazy, like, themes and, like, lore, okay? If you never watched Lemonade Mouth and you have Disney Plus, you have to go watch it right now, because this movie's crazy, and it really was when I noticed that I, like, first time I recognized that I really like music and singing and stuff. And also Bridget Mendler's, like, I might have had a crush on her when I was in, like, elementary school, okay? I just didn't know it. And the soundtrack. Genuinely some of the best music I've ever heard in my life. Like, I'm not even lying. Insane soundtrack, okay? It's the most, like, it's like Disney pop, but it makes you feel something in a way that a lot of Disney pop doesn't, okay? I have some of this on my Spotify playlist, like, downloaded just in my normal shuffle, okay? It's so good. And anyone who's watched Lemonade Mouth would tell you the same thing. It's so good. I've never even watched Lord of the Rings, but I really like the music. And so I have 2 of the soundtracks. The Two Towers and the Fellowship of the Ring. And then I had a third one, or my aunt had a third one, and it did not work. It, like, skipped. And so I need to find the third one. But I'll put these on, like, when I'm, like, going to bed, because they're just, like, a vibe. And then sometimes you get to the, like, the scary part, the, like, big, you know, like, the low brass and, like, the big scary, like, Orkai monsters, and you're a little, like, scared, but then it gets nice and peaceful again with, like, the fiddle and everything, you know? Iconic music. Like, arguably better than anything John Williams has ever done. I'm gonna be honest. And that's controversial, especially considering that my last one is The Force Awakens. Which is a bit of it's out of left field a little bit, you know? But here's the thing. My dad loves Star Wars. Has always loved Star Wars. I've been watching Star Wars since I was born, okay? And I've always, like, liked it. I'm not like a super huge big fan, but, like, I enjoy Star Wars, okay? And I know quite a bit about it. The original soundtrack is good, okay? It's good. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's trash or bad or that I could do better. But after hearing it so much, it gets a little old. I'm gonna be honest. It's like Harry Potter for me. Like, the soundtrack gets a little bit repetitive. And then I was alive when the new movies came out, and the Force Awakens soundtrack hits so hard, and I love it. And that's that one, because the Force Awakens soundtrack has a lot of, like, it has Rey's theme and stuff in it, and it has a lot of like, deep, like, bass wind instruments in it. Like, the bassoon is one of the standout instruments. Beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. I love it. Okay, and Kylo Ren's theme is also really good. The other Star Wars soundtrack that I want is whatever Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That one. I want that one because it has the choiry part. You know what I'm talking about. The iconic choiry. I'm such a bad Star Wars fan. Episode 3 is my favorite Star Wars movie. Also, I love Hayden Christensen and Anakin Skywalker. So, that's my CD collection. Let me see if I can pick the whole thing up at once. Hold on. Ooh. They deserve a more distinguished place in my room, but I have nowhere else to put them. Like, my bookshelf back there is, like, full. Anyway, hopefully this isn't, like, super long, and if it is, I hope you watched anyway, because today was a big day. It was a lot. I don't know how to feel, but I do know that music makes me happy. And I know it's kind of weird to, like, combine these videos into one, but I didn't really feel like doing 2 separate ones. I already kind of explained that. I'm hoping, like I said in the intro, I'm hoping to start doing more stuff that's just, like, me and not, like, health related and not, like, you know. So if there's anything you want to see from me, like, I have a pretty small room, but I could do a room little decor tour. I could do jewelry. I could do my closet. I don't have a lot of stuff in there either. I could post covers, because I can kind of play the piano. Kind of. But I really like singing. I can post craft stuff. Whatever you want to see. I can post more baking videos, because I did that in December. I don't know. Let me know what you want to see. If you don't want to see anything, don't talk to me. Don't let me know. Be mean somewhere else. Okay? Anyway, thank you for being here. And I'll see you later.